Assalamu alaikum students. Today we shall create our next long question. Question number 3, that is, how did Mr. and Miss Murdstone plan to send David to Salem House? So I have made few points for you for creativity. So you are supposed to follow these points. And first of all, I would like to say that you all are supposed to make paragraphs for writing about the characters. Like there is first character is introduction of Mr. Murdstone. So in this paragraph, you will write about Mr. Murdstone, that Mr. Murdstone was the stepfather of David, and how he was. He was very cruel and very wicked person. What was the behavior of Mr. Murdstone with David? So you will write that his behavior towards David was very harsh. He did not want to see David happy in his life, and he always tried to create differences between David and his mother Clara. Next point is arrival of Miss Murdstone. The first question is, who was Miss Murdstone? So Miss Murdstone was the sister of Mr. Murdstone, and she had come to David's home to look after Clara, because Clara was very ill. So she was unable to manage the house. That's why Mr. Murdstone called his sister Miss Murdstone in David's home. Next, lessons of David. So what sort of lessons David learned? So actually David was not allowed to go to school in his childhood by Mr. Murdstone, but David was fond of studies. So on daily basis in the after breakfast, he used to hand over his books to his mother, and he took learning and lessons from her. Next, interruptions during learning. So interruptions is that Mr. and Miss Murdstone used to sit near David while he was learning his lessons, and they interrupted him by staring him continuously, and David got confused and nervous, and he made many mistakes. So a reaction of Mr. Murdstone due to mistakes of David. When Mr. Murdstone saw David doing a lot of mistakes, so he became very angry, and he asked Clara to behave harshly with him. But Clara didn't bother Mr. Murdstone, and she behaved very politely with David. So this made Mr. Murdstone very angry. And next point is beat David angrily. So he wanted to beat him a lot, and he took David upstairs in the room and beat him a lot with a stick. Clara was very sad at that time, but Mr. Murdstone had already taken decision to send him to a strict boarding school, which name was Salem House. So David was compelled to go there. Finally, it was the decision taken by Mr. and Miss Murdstone, and Clara was also agreed with their decision. So it was a sad moment for both Clara and David. David was very sad at that time. So by following these steps, you supposed to create this question.